Ma'am, let me know. Oh. Okay, we are now back into an open session. What time is it, ma'am?
7:56.
Thank you. Ma'am, open session, but we don't have any action items.
We don't have to.
Action items.
Yeah, for the closed session, and I went to the action items and unless I missed
We
it.
have the principal and vice principal that we need to.
No, but there's also the at will.
Well, see, we have all that, except the teachers that she's already taken.
Informational items because they don't require board approval.
Yeah, let's do.
You are correct, ma'am, but we have the at wills and then we have the.
The principal
there was the
and vice
principal.
principal.
That they have to approve.
So,
I didn't because
we're gonna hold back on that anyway, so we cannot vote on it right now.
Correct.
We can't vote on anything,
Right. Anything that was in closed session,
right, because we don't have action and
Right.
action on those.
right?
So we're not gonna vote on any of them, anybody, right?
A was just discussion, we're still looking at dates when we're gonna meet again, and that kind of stuff. So, we're okay with that, it was B. Be the concern. Okay, so 7 consent action items. We have consideration to approve the minutes for the board meeting held on May 15th, 2023, the regular meeting. And B, consideration to approve the monthly bill for May 2023.
A motion?
Second,
Yes, by motion, approve both or one at a time?
Both, if there's any problems with anybody.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve both by Secretary Ray. Is there, and I believe,
Me.
so you make the second?
yes, sir.
Okay, Nora, Guerrero make the second to approve both of them. Any comments or questions? All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Unanimous? Yes. 7-0. Yeah, one over there think like 2 or 3 something and missed all. Okay, let's go to action items. A, discussion action to approve a nomination for the Region 20 Position A seat on the CASB board. Anybody, ma'am?
Juan Victor Bonilla,
A second,
Fine.
Ana Cruz Mata.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're the vice. So,
for how long are the roles? Like, how long?
for a year.
And for how many years, Donna?
If it says 3 years,
they don't meet they meet once
I don't know how often they meet.
You accept? He accepts.
okay. There's who made the nomination to?
me.
A nomination, motion made by, Secretary Ray to, approve the nomination of Cruz Mata for, position A, seat on the TASB board. Is there a second?
A second.
Second made by Member Sam Houston. Discussion, comments? All right, let's go and take a vote. All those in favor, raise,
Does he want it?
He said yes.
you're gonna let me know what I need to do?
I'm sorry?
Are you gonna let me know what I need to do as far as?
Yes, all the forms that you need to complete are in the packet.
Long questionnaire, have at it.
And it's due June 30th, I believe.
When is it due?
June 30th.
30th. Well, deadline is June 30th. My last.
Right there, sir.
Friday.
In the packet.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. That's 7. Motion passes 7-0. You can vote for yourself. B, discussion action to approve the 2023-2024 allotment and antiques certification.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the 23-24 instructional materials allotment and certification as described, which is an annual requirement.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Secretary Ray to approve the recommendation, second by Guerrero. Comments, questions? All right, let's go and take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 4, 5, 7. Motion passes 7-0. Discussion action on student dress code.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees review the student dress code and approve changes as needed, and I believe that Anna gave you a revised copy. So anything, we did share with the principals this afternoon, we went over both student and staff dress code. So what you see in red are the additional recommendations that the leadership team is making.
Okay, so it says here, no pajamas and bottoms, no, because I heard there was a problem.
Problem, and also the covering of tattoos is here.
Yes, it is.
The students.
Yes,
What are those shoes called? That,
Crocs.
yeah, those, I heard that
It's
was
there too.
a pretty big problem.
And those were some of the issues that we're having with the principals, and so,
Is there any way where you can reword it? I don't know, I mean,
What issues were they having with the Crocs?
where you just put,
Nomás quieren que traigan el strap por atrás.
because when I had questions to parents about the pajamas, they said it's not on the dress code.
Yes.
So could you just put, this is what I wear, nothing else, so they can come back and.
what's here, yeah,
Oh, it is, it says sleepwear, including pajamas, and we said tops and bottoms. And then it has a list of all the others that are not allowed.
No, I believe what Gabe was saying is that and I'm with you 100% on this one, that it should be a positive statement that this is the only clothing that will be worn by our kids in the school district.
Yes, we can
And that's
refrain.
it, okay? And if it's not listed, it's not included.
Exactly.
Okay.
some parents will try to
Yeah, 'cause
question
everybody-
you
yeah, I
about.
freak out with that. I really do, personally, I really freak out with that. All right,
Motion.
so, motion to approve the changes?
Wait, one more. Sweaters with hoodies are prohibited.
Yes.
Like, they, so what kind of
You can't
sweaters
wear
can they
them at
wear?
Sweaters that don't have a hoodie.
But where are they gonna get those? All,
That's-
every
that's
hoodie I
all they
know,
sell.
every sweater they sell has hoodie.
Hoodies is a major issue at the secondaries, so they requested that we, obviously, we have to approve sweaters without a hoodie.
I think it's like an impossibility. What they need to do is
Also, the kids I know
enforce
have-
for them not to wear the hoodie over their head.
Yeah.
Okay, so, ma'am, I just have a question about that, yes, because, the track people, they wear, sweat, what are they called? What are they called? Sweatshirts with the hood?
The hoodie, yes, sir.
They're warm up.
It's not a sweater, it's a warm-up, there you go.
Yeah,
You don't change when they go to class?
Well, you,
no, they can wear them all day. If they have a golf meet or basketball game or whatever, they
well,
have
not
those.
inside the building, right?
The sweaters, they wear the sweaters.
No,
inside.
pero it's
Oh.
when
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, yeah, no,
We'll
no.
take out the hood.
Not even the athletes,
Take
you
that
don't see them
off.
with their,
well, I mean, it's fine.
I mean, maybe we can put
Not in the building.
I didn't know.
hoodies prohibited, I mean, over their head. I mean, maybe we can be specific with that. Because every kid wears sweaters with the hood. We just have to enforce que no traigan la hoodie puesto.
Ah.
Okay.
Especially inside the building,
Yeah.
afuera, pues, I mean, si está frío o algo.
Porque they're really smart, ahorita te dicen, no, pues Juliano era right porque está en golf or basketball or volleyball.
Okay, so, make the proper,
Yes, sir, I have, yes.
okay, let's go back.
Mr. Espinoza had made a motion.
Yeah, make the motion.
With the
I'd like
correct,
to make a quick comment. I just don't understand why Crocs are prohibited.
They're not.
Mostly, what the discussion was, it's a safety issue.
Team? Safety issues?
Are we prohibiting them?
Yes.
yeah. It's like, it's a slip-on. It's like,
Got the strap in the back.
We've always allowed kids
The
to,
strap in the back, that is the issue.
Yeah.
yeah, see, that's the issue in now.
Are we gonna get the dress code for the DAP kids?
Yes.
Okay.
you know, I had a comment from a parent, and special population kid. That's all her kid wanted to wear, Crocs with a strap, Crocs with a strap. So have we had any accidents in the past 2 years because of Crocs?
As per the conversations we had today with the principals, they are a safety issue.
But have
They
we,
trip, they hurt themselves because they don't wear the strap, they slide off,
But it's like if you would say they don't tie their shoes, you know? They can just,
which they have accidents to.
right? See, we're not prohibiting shoes. So you just, you know, we're gonna have, I mean, I'm on the fence on that one, but como quiera, I don't know.
I mean, I go with the flip flops, metal cleats, shoes with heels, whatever, pero. I mean, Crocs are a big thing. If we take them away from our student body, it's gonna be a big thing. And if we haven't had a major accident, I mean, I know they can be prone to it, pero también again, it's just like the hoodie. We gotta enforce the strap. I mean, I know que you guys probably don't have time to be doing that, but maybe it's something that they can do. I mean, that's just me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Was there a motion, sir?
Not yet.
There was a motion, but it hasn't been seconded.
I motion, but I mean,
Second.
You're debating keeping the motion.
no, I'm open to,
A discussion.
to additions or the majority of the people,
The second.
how many?
Second? Second made by VP Cruz, Mata. All right, comments and questions?
Okay.
Okay, I already listed my hoodie thing and my Crocs
You
thing.
wanna have that?
I
I don't have a problem with my motion.
I wouldn't mind keeping the Crocs in for the kids. I mean,
Personally,
small.
I don't like Crocs, so I really don't.
No lo usas?
I wear boots and tennis, that's just me.
I see kids wearing them all the time. I mean, they're comfortable. I don't see the issue, but come on.
Mira,
As long as the
estas-
district is not gonna be held liable in case somebody hurts themselves because they were walking fast down the hallway and the crock came out because they didn't have the thing in the back, and then they bust open their head, and then the parents are gonna come back, where's the safety? You know, that's the only thing, you know, because it is a slipper. It's
You
like-
know,
it has-
esta scar que tengo aquí is from a Croc. Me caí, but I was at home and I wasn't used to wearing them. But I'll never wear them, but I know kids love them. But I have a scar from a Croc.
Let's keep it prohibited.
I tripped on the carpet, and I mean,
So
but at least it was my arm and not my forehead.
In my motion, I mean, go ahead and,
I'm okay with keeping the Crocs, off the line.
Croc, no, I want the
But the
Croc
hoodie,
to put it, to allow.
To allow them, so.
with the strap.
With
Strap.
the way we have it now.
The red part would be deleted. That, if you delete it, that means it's gonna.
Well,
it's not okay.
if it passes, but,
Or you're making that change in your motion. 'Cause
yeah,
you-
but
all right,
you're gonna
you
vote on
accept
it.
the change in the motion.
I changed my motion.
The word
He
with the
wants to
strap.
allow
Allow.
Crocs.
The what?
Crocs, he wants to allow Crocs.
No, hombre, I don't.
Don't say.
So don't second.
Does, Croc with the
I
strap.
second.
Okay, second made by member Sam, Houston, and we are deleting the prohibition of Crocs.
On this motion.
Yeah, in this motion.
I just know I use them to work and they're comfortable. I just know I use them to work and they're good.
Okay, all right, let's go ahead and take a vote, or any other comments or questions in reference to the student dress code? All right, let's go ahead and take a vote, all those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in favor, any against?
None
None against?
like Crocs, I never liked Crocs.
Motion passes,
It's just.
6-1. D, discussion action on employee dress code.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees review the employee dress code and approve changes as needed. Same thing, we provided the recommendations that the principals are making to the dress standards.
A motion.
What's the question?
President,
Yes, hold on, there's a motion made by VP Cruz to approve the recommendation as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second made by member Nora Guerrero. Okay, discussion?
On the teachers, if it's a real small tattoo and it doesn't have anything bad,
It has to be covered.
Monday?
It has to be covered.
As per this, it would.
As per this, it would be
It
covered.
would be covered.
So we can't change it or?
There's a motion on the floor that says it's gotta be covered.
It is.
Then you can do an alternative motion, which we would deal with first, if it's second.
On discussion,
Okay,
Ms. Blanes, and I think I met with you Thursday on the last bullet on the first part, on the jeans, it says, on Spirit Day only is, ordained by the superintendent. My concern was there, I mean, I don't know the way I'm reading it, that,
No, there's a teacher that has.
gonna limit it, or we're gonna have like,
Some of them get them down by their ankle.
it's statistic day or jeans.
Look at all the engineers.
So the discussion that we had with the principals today is that it's allowable, the jeans and the spirit shirt, but not to be overused. So that's the
I
understanding.
mean, we have this, on this day, we're celebrating this, jeans.
Yes.
This day we're celebrating. So the whole month, I mean, jeans are going.
Right, yes, we've had that discussion, yes.
It's fine, I didn't hear too many teachers complain, but the principals were very lenient. I mean, they were a gusto, andaban, you know. Here. I mean, I didn't hear anything.
And I don't have a problem, I mean, somebody will make a motion, to let the staff wear jeans every day, and the same because we have it here.
you guys see me smiling because I objected strongly when the district prohibited the use of jeans. There was a time when the district allowed jeans, though they weren't torn, they were still colored, and as long as you wore them with a shirt and tie or a coat. Okay, and then that trend came to Texas, into Crystal City, that we need to be more professional, and you can only be professional if you wear regular dress pants, coat, shirt, you know.
Collar shirt.
But anyway. Smiling. Okay, any other comments or questions? All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any against? Any against? Motion passes 6-1. Okay, F, discussion action to approve the education assessment services contract between CCISD and Cecilia N. Reina for the 2023-2024.
You skip one, sir, on
Where, skip one?
118,
Where?
the tardy policy.
Oh, shoot. Man, it's really the second time. Must be a sign or something. Okay.
Okay.
E, discussion action, on employee tardiness policy.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees review and approve the changes to the CCISD employee tardiness policy. So last month, you all approved the policy with the caveat that we added progressive disciplinary measures. So if you look on page 114, it's highlighted in yellow for you to consider for approval. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are there gonna be excused tardiness? A flat tire,
On a case-by-case basis, yes, the principals would,
but
the
once again.
to communicate with the
Principal's gonna be in conjunction with one another. I don't want the high school to say,
Yes.
there's my excuse, there's 8 of them, then the Savada, 3 of them.
Yes.
And when they turn it into you, the discipliner, is it gonna be in writing?
Yes, the form was, you all had a copy of the form that we're going to use to track during last board's meeting.
So as soon as there's 3 or 4, whatever, it's gonna be in writing.
Yes.
that the principal and the employee,
Yes.
okay. I just want to cover that because I spoke with two of the people that were supposedly terminated. And they told me the principal never told them the second time. That's it, I mean,
Yeah, that's,
so I'm hoping it's in writing and again, that all the schools are fair because
Consistent.
this principal likes this person and they get a flat tire. This system's not gonna work.
The tardy
Advertisement.
policy, the tardy policy will be reviewed with all employees that first Monday when we come back from the holiday break, when the teachers come back from the holiday break, so that every employee understands in terms of tardiness, what the policy is, what the expectations are, how we will document tardiness, and then obviously the progressive
I
disciplinary.
understand that, but if principal have favored teachers or something, they can use.
Well, we will certainly address that too.
I mean, I know that from fact, 'cause 10 of my principals let me do whatever I wanted to, so.
I've been reading this thing on the, and I know, I mean, I kind of brought up the tardy policy. On the fourth, on termination, how will that apply to a teacher? I mean, or are we gonna terminate teachers, I mean, by the end of the first 6 weeks, or they're violating it?
It depends on the severity of the tardiness, the circumstances behind the tardiness. Obviously, teachers have a chapter 21, the process would be different, but it's up to termination for everybody, for all employees.
they can't have, as an ex-teacher, you're an ex-teacher, we can't have our cake and eat it too, Ray.
No, what I'm saying, I mean,
That's what it
what I'm
boils
saying,
down
I
to.
mean, if we're gonna have this for the whole year, I mean, we might wind up without a lot of, and I know we had a lot of them, but, let me ask this question. I hear that, for example, and I don't know if that's in every campus. If you sign in at 7:35, it will not mark 7:35, it will mark 7:45.
I'll let HR address that.
It's a 4 minute, roundup. And so if you get in at 7:35, it'll run back down to 7:30. If it goes from 7:36 up, it rounds you up to 7:40 or 7:45. However.
Oh, it's not a true picture then, right?
Yeah, no, but there is a report that we can run that tells you exactly the time that person. So if, for example, if when HR started looking into tardies this year and you know, there is a report that we could say, this person, this is the exact time that this person.
So is there anything that you can do to prevent that from people like calling your office? I mean, I wasn't late, they marked me late. We don't have.
Well, we had documentation, the secretary to do a time adjustment form, and they fill that out, and as long as the secretaries have it in.
So it does jump, right?
Yes, it jumps, and we've had that, like Mr. Espinosa said, that, you have a teacher that shows up with a flat tire, hey, sir, I was late or whatever, okay, but when you get here, do the time adjustment.
They were telling me that sometimes they sign up at 7:46 and it doesn't mark 7:46, it marks 8 o'clock. I mean, so, I don't know.
It won't go that far, it goes 4 minutes, or to the next, 5 minute interval.
But when we're looking at tardiness, we are looking at that very specific report that clocks them in at the time that they clocked in, not at the rounded up report.
I motion to accept the employee tardiness policy as is.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion made by VP Cruz-Mata to approve the recommendation as presented, seconded by member Peggy Young. Any other comments or questions? No? All right, let's go into the vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any against? You're in
No, I
favor?
was for.
Okay, so motion passes 7-0. F, discussion action to approve the educational assessment services contract between Crystal City ISD and Cecilia N. Reyna for the 2023-2024 school year.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the educational assessment services contract between CCISD and Cecilia N. Reyna for educational diagnostician evaluations for the 23-24 school year.
Motion.
Second.
By Secretary Ray to approve the recommendation, second by Member Nora Guerrero. Comments, questions? All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any against? Abstentions?
He had motion.
I'm for it.
Oh, you were for it? Okay, motion passes 7-0. G, discussion action to approve speech language therapy and educational diagnostician services contract between Crystal City ISD and Cecilia N. Reyna for the 2023-2024 school year.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the speech language therapy and educational diagnostician services contract between CCISD and Cecilia N. Reyna for speech therapy and evaluations for the 23-24 school year.
Is this a different contract than the one we approved?
Right, same vendor, different contract, different service.
So how is that gonna work as to me?
She is
Double dipping?
qualified, she's qualified to address both. So we can use her as a speech pathologist or as a diagnostician.
How would her schedule work out? Does she only work in our school district or is she gonna work with other school districts too?
Right now, in the past, she has worked with us and with La Prior, as I know now. She's only gonna work with Crystal City ISD. And she helps me as, in both capacities.
Is it possible to train a diagnostician locally instead of having?
Yes, it is possible. I'm still recruiting to try to see if I can convince someone to go after this program. It is a very rigorous program, and as of now, I haven't been successful.
Just curious. Thank you, ma'am.
But it's a good field. It's a good
Okay, there was a recommendation made by the superintendent, there a motion?
The motion.
Motion made by Secretary Ray to approve the recommendation, second by Member Nora Guerrero. Any further comments or questions? All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes unanimously, 7-0 to approve. H, discussion action to approve the school service therapy contract between Crystal ISD and Lisa Corbin Scarpa for the 2023-2024 school year.
Lisa Corbin provides us
The
with.
recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and psychological diagnostic contract between Crystal City ISD and Lisa Corbin Scarpa, school therapy services for physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and psychological diagnostic evaluations for the 23-24 school year.
So actually, she's gonna do it on
For a while, right?
Yes, ma'am.
She's gonna do it on site? The
Yes,
therapy and everything?
yes.
Is she new or is she returning? Is she new or is she returning?
No, she's been with us for years.
Okay.
More than 7.
Her name nomás escapes me.
She's the owner of the company, but she sims her staff.
Oh, okay.
Like her physical therapist and occupational therapist.
I move.
Motion by Member Nora to approve the recommendation. There a second?
Second.
Second made by VP Cruz Mata. Any comments or questions? All right, let's go and take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, aye. Discussion action to approve the educational diagnostician services contract between Crystal City ISD and Cecilia Cavazos, a diagnostician, right? For the 2023-2024 school year.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the educational diagnostician services for contract between CCISD and Cecilia Cavazos for educational evaluations for the 23-24 school year.
There a motion to that effect?
Move.
Motion made by member Nora Guerrero to approve. There a second?
Second.
Second made by member Sam Houston. Any comments or questions? All right, it's going to take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes unanimously. J, discussion action to approve the educational diagnostic services contract between CCISD and Assessment Intervention and Management LLC for the 2023-2024 school year.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the educational diagnostician services contract between Crystal City ISD and Assessment Intervention and Management, otherwise known as AIM, for educational evaluations for the 23-24 school year.
Are they new to us?
Yes.
Okay.
Very
So-
good, Ms. Young, they are. They will also be providing us with psychological services.
Okay, because I noticed that they also have special education teachers.
Yes, ma'am.
Dyslexia, nursing, okay.
Yes, I included the sheet that includes.
So all these services will be offered to her?
Correct, because they're under her company of AIM.
Would it affect any of the, will it avoid the kids leaving campus, like with Camino Real and all that? Is it gonna help us?
No, they come to the campus,
So
and they're
it's-
scheduled.
So that's better?
Yes.
I move.
Okay, motion made by member Nora Guerrero to approve the recommendation. Present. There a second?
Second it.
Second made by member Peggy Young. All right, any comments or questions? Let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah, I'll move for that.
7. Motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Informational, discussion items, ma'am, superintendent report.
First thing on the report is attendance as of May 23rd of 2023. Our attendance was at 90.0, a little bit better than how we ended the year last year. And you have the campus's attendance as is.
Is the accountability system going to change, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
To that effect.
Yes, and Mr. Fernandez will pull up my PowerPoint presentation. This, what I will be presenting tonight is a PowerPoint presentation that Commissioner Morath presented to superintendents May 31st of 2023 to present to school boards as early as June of 2023. So I'm bringing this forth to you right now. First thing, we're going to start, Juan, with the commissioner's message to school boards.
Hello, school board members. My name is Mike Morath. I'm Commissioner of Education for the state of Texas, and I am a former school board member. I served on the Dallas board for 4.5 years, and school board service is critical. When you think about the role that you play in our republic, you are where the buck stops, the governing body of the local school district, and you are responsible for how well those schools work and how well we serve collectively all 5.5 million souls in Texas public schools across the state of Texas. Thank you for your work. It is hard, daunting, and the pay is pretty terrible for a school board member. So thank you for your work. One of the things that I reflect on as a former school board member, one of the responsibilities that I held was I needed to know how well our schools were doing in Dallas. Were they the same? Were they getting better? Were they getting worse? And because it was my job to oversee our administrative team and make sure that we were making progress for kids. And so what the agency does, what TEA does to try to help improve your ability to govern your school district is we provide A through F ratings, which then gives a summative evaluation of all of your schools. And so every year when A through F ratings come out, you can take a look at the ratings. You can then compare them to last year, and you can say, are my schools getting better? Are they about the same? Are they getting a little worse? And you can then help build action plans with your administrative team accordingly to support our kids. What has been true for A through F for the last 5 years, since 2017, is it's been basically the same system. The cut points have been basically the same. The mechanics have been basically the same. We evaluate schools holistically on the better of student proficiency or student growth. As you all well know, evaluating schools is complex. Our little humans are very complex creatures, and so trying to get a single picture of performance is difficult, but A through F does that very holistically. And the fact that it has remained unchanged since 2017 is also super helpful because you can then look at this year's results, your teachers can look at this year's results, your parents can look at this year's results and see, is the school getting better? What kind of progress are we making for kids? It was not always like that in Texas with the school rating system. Before the A through F system, the agency, the way TEA worked, would tweak the ratings every single year. They basically raise cut scores ever so slightly any given year. And that was good in terms of setting goals that are constantly higher and helping us push forward for kids. But it made life really confusing as a school board member in Dallas in my old life because I would have a hard time figuring out, are last year's results the same or better than this year's results? But the downside of what we've done over the last 5 years is we do want to constantly get better for kids. We want to make sure that we are setting higher and higher goals. In fact, the statute that sets up A through F requires us to continuously increase cut scores to ensure that Texas is a national leader in preparing kids for post-secondary success. So this year we are refreshing the A through F rating system. We will be using the information that we've gleaned over the last 5 years, all the feedback that we get from educators, from parents and others, to update the way the ratings work. And what that also means is that the ratings that you look at this year cannot be easily compared with last year's ratings. There's a few places where cut scores are actually changing, in some cases going up, and so it will no longer lead to an apples-to-apples comparison. So to try to make life easier for you, what we are doing is we're publishing preliminary what-if ratings using last year's data, but using the new rating system calculations. And so that way when ratings come out this fall, you will be able to compare this year's actual ratings with last year's sort of hypothetical what-if calculation ratings. And that way you can have a good apples-to-apples comparison on performance. We're going to also put those hypothetical what-if ratings up on texasschools.gov so that when parents or teachers or anybody in the community looks to evaluate year-over-year performance, they can compare this year's performance with last year's performance using this year's metrics. And so we hope that this helps make the job that you have as a school board easier, but it's also going to be important for all of us to kind of communicate about this to make sure everybody's on the same page. So we'll be communicating more about this in the fall when ratings come out. We have provided your superintendent with hypothetical, what are preliminary what-if ratings so they can go over those with you, and there's a lot more details if you want to get into the mechanics of it. We have all that information on our website, provided that information to your superintendent. But I wanted to just talk to you directly about these changes because I knew that this would be important for me as a former school board member, and hope that this is valuable for you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for the service that you do for our kids. School boards are critical to the foundation of our democracy and to highly functioning school systems. God bless you for what you do.
And I'll let Juan get to the presentation. So A through F, we have been, the leadership team, we have been going over the refresh of the refresh and the refresh of the refresh. It's taken TA quite a bit to get to where we are right now with the what-if standards. The A through F refresh continues to be a growth-minded type of a system. What it intends to do is to really capture what is happening in classroom, very specifically in Tier 1 instruction and with the long-term intervention. So according to state law, the purpose of A through F accountability is to continuously improve student performance, eliminate achievement gaps, and prepare students for post-secondary success. This is what Mr. Alvarado was sharing with us a little bit earlier, the importance of making sure that we have a strong CTE program to positively impact CCMR. Next, Mr. Fernandez. I'm not going to touch base on this. This is how we have eventually gotten to where we are right now with refresh. So what is the what if? One more slide, Mr. Fernandez. Okay. So as Commissioner Morath has very clearly stated, it is not simple apples to apples comparison this year. The accountability 2023 is different in its methodologies, very, very different in the methodologies. And for those of us that work with accountability, we are very much aware of the potentials of the what if reports that I'll get into in a little bit. All right, so because of this, TEA is providing districts preliminary what-if ratings, which we received also on May 31st, and I went over the what-ifs with the principals this morning because they were out at a conference last week. So I'm going to move into the presentation, Mr. Fernandez, on the what-if. Okay, thank you.
When will the board see the preliminary ratings?
We're here. Preliminary what-if ratings for CCISD. So as Commissioner Morath clearly stated, the method that they are using to arrive at what could potentially be preliminary ratings for the districts is using the scores from 2022 and embedding those into the methodology of 2023. So this is the district. For Domain 1 in student achievement, the district last year received a score of a 77. That 77 last year in this year's methodology now is represented by a 62. In Domain 2 student progress last year, our score was an 84. This year, it would calculate to a 71. Last year in Domain 3, in closing the gaps, our score was a 70. This year, it would transition into a 79 because there's a lot of methodology changes in this domain. Last year, our overall score was at 80 with a rating of a B. This year, using last year's scores in this year's methodology, our total score would be a 73 for an overall rating of a C, which for the district, even though it seems like a drop, but it's actually a gain because we've seen a lot of growth in our data. That's how CCISD looks. This is Rivera Zavala. Same concept across all of the campuses. Rivera Zavala, their paired campus, Domain 1, their score for Domain 1 was a 60. It interprets as a 60 under the new methodology. Domain 2 and Domain 3, they keep their own scores. There's not a lot of change in the elementary methodologies. Their overall rating last year was a 61 or not rated. This year, last year's scores in this year's accountability system, the overall score would be a 67 or a D, which is marked improvement because the not rated in the old system would be considered an F. For Benito Juarez Elementary, they keep the same scores across the board. Their overall target score was an 81 for a rating of a B. This year, in the new methodology, of course, old scores, the overall score would be an 80 for an accountability rating of a B. For Sterling, the same target scores roll over. Their overall score would be a 79 for an accountability rating of a C, and they would keep a 79 and the same accountability rating of a C. For high school, the numbers will continue to be the same. You will see the change in the overall score. Last year, high school received an overall score of a 79 for a rating of a C. This year, using last year's scores in this year's methodology, their overall performance would be a 73 for a performance rating of a C. Of a C. Overall, the district, with all the campuses contributing in proportional weights, the district would be rated a C. Again, that's not that doesn't mean we're going to be a C. It means that if we use last year's scores, because we know how our kids did last year, and implement those into the new methodology, that's where we would be this year.
Do we see Zavala?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rivera and Zavala were paired.
Zavala was with TR.
Yes, they're a paired campus, so they're Rivera Sabana.
And the
Yes, sir.
state having this information, that will give us
The state is responsible for releasing this information to us. So the state has already calculated where we are expected to be if we were to use last year's scores with this year's methodology, which is not going to be the case. We are going to use this year's scores with this year's methodology, which we will not have access to until September of 2023. But in order for us to start planning and looking at growth and areas of improvement and taking a look at how do we close some of the gaps that we see, we can already start projecting using this calculation. Okay.
Could there be changes in those scores? Or that's it? I mean, like.
So right now, Mr. Fernandez, if you will go to the actual scores, to our scores. Okay, so what information do we have right now to help us kind of guide where we're at? So right now, you'll see that all of these are going to be in the blue rectangles. The state is reporting for grades 3 through 8th. The state is not telling us whether the kids passed or did not pass. What the state has done is release the data in terms of these labels. Did not meet or likely did not pass, zone of uncertainty, and likely passed. That's the way the scores are being released right now. This is the way our numbers look, okay? If you look at the zone of uncertainty across the different subjects and grade levels, most of our students are being held there. The state right now, June, July, August, and part of September, their job is to calculate with the psychometricians. They are responsible for calculating what 1 year's worth of growth looks like. Once they determine that mathematically, then they will go back and set the cut scores for approaches, meets, and masters. When they do that, they'll take all of our scores, reshuffle them into the raw score conversion tables, and then we will be able to determine what percent of our students did not meet, achieved approaches, meets, and masters. So for third grade RLA, this is how our students look. 51% of our students likely passed, 34% are in the zone of uncertainty, and 15% did not meet. Okay, which is very close to call. Can you roll back one more, Juan, please? Obviously, we're looking very closely at Zavala Elementary, Rivera and Zavala, because we need to get these campuses out of IR. So we're crossing our fingers.
You paired TR with them again this year.
Because they're the feeder campuses, yes. They are holding their own right now as we speak. So we're hoping that once the calculations and the cut scores are finally set, that it'll work in our favor. Fourth grade RLA, those are our numbers. Fifth grade RLA. Again, it's going to be a pattern where most of our students are falling within the zone of uncertainty. So there's almost a 50-50 chance that they will go into the did not meet or into the likely passed. For grade 7th and 8th, it remains the same. For English 1 EOC and English 2 EOC, the state has gone ahead and have released the approaches, meets, and masters for obviously for graduation purposes. So these scores have already been released. So for English 1, we had 181 testers. Out of the 181, 40% did not meet, 60% met approaches, 40% are at meets, and 4% are at masters. So we saw a great improvement in the meets category. For English 2 EOCs, out of the 167 students that tested, 35% did not meet, 65 met approaches, 41 achieved meets, 4% masters. And then we move into math. These are our preliminary scores also. The pattern will repeat. Most of our students fall under the zone of uncertainty. Again, we'll wait for the psychometricians to determine what the cut scores are that will equate to 1 year's worth of learning. We will see Algebra 1 EOC Junior High. Again, it's an EOC. These cut scores have been released. Out of the 15 students that tested Algebra 1 EOC, 0 did not meet, 100% met approaches, 46 met meets, and 13% met masters. We're hoping that we'll get a distinction in this subject area. Algebra 1 EOC for high school, out of the total number of students that tested, 33% did not meet, 63% met approaches, 20% met meets, and 3% met masters. In science, again, science for grades 5 and grade 8 have yet to be determined. Biology EOC has been calculated. Out of the number of students that tested, 21% did not meet, 79% met approaches, 34% met meets, 4% met masters. In the area of social studies, grade 8, again, has not been calculated. For U.S. history, out of the total number of students that tested, 3% did not meet, 97% met approaches, 70% met meets, and 30% met masters. We're hoping that Mr. Ibarra will get a distinction from the state this coming year, because that is marked improvement from year past. And so, again, for grades 3 to 8, the cut points have not been determined by TA. For EOCs, they have. Once they determine what the cut points are, then we will be able to calculate. But that is not going to happen until either very late in August or very early in September. So for now, we work under the scenario, what if?
What if?
Yes. Questions on the what if?
We'll wait for the what if.
Right now, it's a waiting game, even though we already have an action plan for what we need to do next.
But the one thing that I've noticed through time is that it may seem like our kids are developing at a different rate at the lower elementaries, but as they progress and they get closer to high school, they soar.
Yes.
So I believe overall the district was doing okay.
I think the district is going to be okay. We shared with the principals today, obviously we still have COVID gaps that we have to address, and those begin in grades first on up. But for pre-kinder, kinder, and some of first, these are the kids that started with us after COVID. We already see that we actually, for the first time, have an actual tier 1 pyramid the way it's supposed to be, versus it being inverted, because it's always been inverted. So we've got good things to look forward to. We know that will only benefit Zavala Elementary and of course BJ, and then moving on up. So there's a lot of promise in our scores.
Okay. The teacher incentive allotment.
Mr. Alvarado?
I'm gonna need some more time to go over this thing.
So in front of you, you have your packet that I'm just gonna go over briefly. As Ms. Young said earlier, there's not too much money coming our way, as far as raises and everything. So Crystal City is doing our best so that we can apply for the teacher incentive allotment. Again, this was passed by House Bill 3 in the 86 legislature, and it's a plan for increased teacher compensation. It's a way for teachers to get money, and there's some teachers out there that have the potential to earn a lot of money through the teacher incentive allotment. Again, this was established with the goal of providing outstanding teachers an accessible pathway of a 6-figure salary. It's not impossible, but like it says, for outstanding teachers to have the possibility.
Well, like the Algebra 1, if we got a distinction, that teacher would certainly benefit from money.
Yes, sir.
More money.
Yes. So again, and I don't know how much you all know about this, but I'm just going to go over it. You have it in front of you, and it's a lot. But in front of you, you have on page 3 of packet, it says there are 3 levels of distinctions. One is being recognized, exemplary, and masters. And it kind of gives you a clue as to the money that teachers can earn through the teacher incentive allotment. If a teacher is recognized, which we do have one employed by the district right now, that is a recognized teacher through TA. She does fall in the price range of a recognized teacher. And I recently have a cousin that is not from this district, but that was recognized as a master teacher in the district that she works with, and she is making close to that top figure on top of her teacher salary. So it is a good thing for our teachers. So in page 4, as you can see, there's 2 levels of it. It's a 3-year process. Right now we are in year 2. However, last year it's all part of the application. As of right now, as an update, we have submitted the application. It was given back to us with feedback. A couple of corrections that need to be made. It wasn't anything too serious, and we will be resubmitting before June 30th. Next year, the following year, if we do get accepted, it's a year of collecting data. And this data is based on programs that we already have in the district. So it's nothing new to us. It's just something that we're going to have to keep going. One of the main pieces of evidence that we collect is through our T-test appraisal system, which we already do. And the other one is our student growth measure. So what we do with our interim test, exactly what we do is collect that data. We will be using iStation as another piece of data that we will collect. Anything that is measurable that we can use as from the district that we already have implemented, and we can collect teacher growth or student growth. That's what we'll be using to gauge teachers. On page 4, it gives us the option, and we just went with what it is, the option of a 90-10 distribution of allotment funding. When the teachers, and if we do get teachers that earn the distinctions, 90% of the payment will go to teachers. However, the district will be taking 10% so that we can implement not only to improve those teachers, but the teachers that want to better themselves. We will be creating systems.
So the campuses benefit from added revenue too?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So again, 10% of that will be going back into the program to grow our teachers, not only the ones that have been accepted into the program, but also teachers that want to be accepted into the program. So this will help the district grow our teachers, also. On page 6, it kind of gives you a tiers. When you get your distinction, it's based on 3 different levels. One is the distinction of the teacher. If we asked for them to be a recognized teacher, a exemplary teacher, or a master's teacher, that's one part of it. But then they can also get extra funding based on the campus socioeconomic level, and then also the campus rural status. So of course, Crystal City will fall under the rural status. So that's just a multiplier on how we can get even more money for our teachers.
Who decides on the designations and classifications here?
It'll be the administrator,
The committee.
the committee.
So, and I'm sorry, Robert, I don't know if you referenced this or not, but so what we did was we applied for TIA. This year, if we get the final approval, this year will be a planning year for us. So we put it we get the plan, bring it to you for approval. Teachers have been surveyed already, and then we can start, really, really targeting our areas of improvement.
And it's only for reading, math, social studies, science.
As of right now, what we did was we went pre-K through 3rd grade, and then we went from 4th grade to English 2, and also including U.S. history. And that's just because the district already has systems in place that'll help us implement the program faster. We already have tracking programs such as iStation, such as state release tests that we use on a normal basis. So we went with those. There is always room to grow. I mean, there's even room for PE teachers, health. As long as they have somewhere to track student growth, we can implement the system there too. So it's not just the core teachers, but for starting this year to see where we land, we did use only the tested areas.
So teacher evaluations are submitted as well, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's going to be 90% of the. It's a key piece. And again, the issue the understanding that we have to come with is the skew in the data. Again, we can't have a teacher that's accomplished or, exemplary teacher, but then their scores come back, at a low level. So we have to be very careful on how we judge teachers. Again, this is to help teachers, but at the same time, our teachers are gonna have to show growth.
So they say they can be recognized, but they can lose that status?
Excuse me?
They can be, let's say, a master teacher, but they can lose that status?
It gives you for 5 years. Once you get recognized, it gives you that money for 5 years.
Oh.
Whether you go from this district to another district, it follows you for a total of 5 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
Once you get recognized.
So going back to what you said, let's say we designate a teacher a master's, that teacher's students are not as successful as they. To
Correct.
prove that teacher's a master.
Right, so when we submit the names, by the time we submit the names, we'll have all the data that we know in order to then submit the name. So as our walkthroughs can recognize them as a exemplary teacher or a recognized teacher, however, we would have to wait till we get scores back so that we can finally submit the name and see if the data is not skewed.
And all the administrators that participate in the evaluation system will go through the skew analysis, professional development, so that they have a really good understanding of the discrepancy between teacher evaluations and student performance. These have to be as parallel as possible.
So the teachers that are doing the appraisals?
Yes. Well, no, the administrators are doing the appraisals. The administrators are the ones that are going to get trained on skew analysis.
Well, right now, when we're going into this, our people who are selected to do the evaluations, is there new guidelines for the way that they appraise, what they're looking for?
Not necessarily, ma'am. It's just that we do have to get trained in the skew analysis, making sure that we're all on the same page when we do go into walkthroughs. And that's something that Ms. Virones had already implemented this year, where we were going into classrooms based on, we had the IT going with us, we had administrators going with us, we had personnel from central office going with us. And we were all trying to get on the same page so that whenever one person goes into one room, we're all seeing the same thing. So we already put that into practice. So if you look at page 9, this is the only thing that we have to make sure that we understand. Again, everybody is given the opportunity to join this, but if you look at it, only 33% of statewide teachers have actually gotten recognized as a recognized teacher. Only 20% have actually met the exemplary, and only 5% of teachers in all the state of Texas have been given the opportunity to be considered a master teacher. So again, the money is there, but you have to work for it, and you have to show the proof that we're getting what we're putting our money into. So, the opportunity is there, but it's hard work that it's going to have to be put in.
But
that's what we're hoping.
Well, I think it's something that they can strive for.
Right.
Now. They put something at the end of the tunnel for, that goes into their retirement.
Yes, and it's possible. I mean, like I said, we have a teacher that's been an advocate in the district for it because she brings the experience. So, it's possible. It's definitely attainable.
And our systems are already in place for us to just be able to implement TIA once it gets approved.
So again, like Ms. Virones said, we are in the application process right now. Our teachers have been surveyed. We have done everything that TIA has asked for us. As of June 30th or before June 30th, we will resubmit the application, and hopefully we do get approved.
Finally.
Thank you, Robert.
It's one that we really have to look at and be careful because it's going to exclude teachers that are not part of the accountability system. English 3, English 4.
It depends on the plan that we design.
Yeah, and we have to be very careful. Okay.
And Mr. Moreno will present the 2023 summer programs update.
All right, that is the next one.
Afternoon, everyone. Afternoon. Evening, I guess now. So before you have the enrollment of our summer school program. So our summer school program does go all the way from kinder to high school. As you can see, kinder has 8, but that's only because we only have one classroom. We only have it's our ESL students that we kind of bring in. So that's the reason it's only 8. Across the elementaries, it's about 4 classes across, and the whole goal was to get the teacher-student ratio as low as possible. So first grade, we have 23, second, 17, third, we have 33, fourth, we have 41, fifth, we have 49, sixth, 46, seventh, 41, eighth, 45. And at the high school, we do have a lot more because that's where the EOCs start playing a little bit more in credit recovery. That's 290, but that's all 5 EOCs across the 4 grade levels and credit recovery. So we have about 600 students currently in our summer school program. Everything's going really good. The average class sizes are about 8 to 10. In the secondaries, they get a little bit bigger because we have a little bit more students because we have to meet the criteria for House Bill 4545. They have to meet those criteria, so we have to mess with the class sizes there a little bit more. The focus, for the most part, is going to be reading and math. That's going to be the big focus across the district. In kinder, it's really focusing and honing in on those reading skills, fluency, all of those parts of things that the students need before they can even start to read. That's going to be the focus, as well as the math skills. First through third grade, text fluency, the stamina, getting them ready for especially if they're going to be moving into third grade, getting them ready for the STAR tests, especially with the writing. I believe they even brought in a new teacher to teach writing as well because they saw that based on their scores, they needed some help on writing. So in summer school, they brought in a teacher that's solely on writing. 4th through 5th grade, it's again reading and writing skills and low performing math SCs because we did get a little bit look at that. Again, like Mr. Jonas said, nothing is really final yet, but we were able to kind of look to see where we're lacking a little bit of help. 6th through 8th grade, again, it's very similar, right? Reading and writing and low performance. We did include science here at the 6th grade level because of the House Bill 4545. They take it in 5th grade, but since we have an acceleration program, we move all our 5th graders into 6th grade, so they teach science at 6th grade to get those hours. And then, of course, high school is prepping for EOCs. EOC testing that last week of June. I know Mr. Delgado sent me the calendar, but I don't remember it right off the top of my head. But they're already prepping for EOCs, some retests, and then, of course, our credit recovery. I know it's not...
They're in class how many hours?
They're on average, all the way K through 8, they're there about 5 hours, depending on where they fall. High school gets a little bit more trickier because they pass English 1, but didn't pass English 2, so they're just there for English 2. But there's some kids that do, need all of them. But on average, it's about 5 hours per grade level. And so they'll be, if they go every single day, if they go, they don't. I think they're allotted 2-3 days absences. They have no problem meeting the hours for the House Bill 45.
And there's no retest this year, right?
No, not in K through 8, but they will have an EOC, another chance to pass the EOC in June.
What were the requirements for the kinder through 5th grade students with these?
The kinder through first and second, it was based on their iStation scores and then their M-class scores. So, based on where they fell, whether they were a Tier 3 student or a Tier 2 student, they made the recommendation first for them to attend summer school.
The teachers that were teaching them know.
Yes. For the PD day, we included instructional strategies. When the instructional coaches were designing the lessons, it was there is a lab section because we have to follow ZERN. There's some legalities we kind of have to follow, which is the ZERN and the iStation. But for the most part, most of the classes should actually be very hands-on. Almost everything is, paper, pencil, kind of going back to the hands-on portions of instructions. And we did a PD on nothing but instructional strategies to make sure we get the collaborative aspect of everything as well.
And summer school in when?
June 30th. June 30th is the last day of summer school. I know this technically is a summer school, but I do have my book fair because it goes with the summer reading and all of that. That kind of goes. So we have a summer book fair that's going to be coming in July.
Well, that's good.
So that way we can enforce the reading across the district. And we'll be bringing in. I'm working on getting some authors to come in and actually local authors to come in and read as well. So that's again just to reinforce what we're focusing here in summer school that reading those reading skills.
Great.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to volunteer do read, you
I was
can
gonna
read what's
say.
out there. If you want to volunteer to read it, you're more than welcome.
Been voluntold.
Oh, yes, no, yes, you've been voluntold to
Voluntold.
do a guest reading. Here's the vola.
Your own book, you read your own book that you.
Oh, well, we'll have some books there. You just read a little, a children's book to the kids that are there.
Are there any prizes given?
To be excused.
How many books they read or anything
Thank
like
you.
that?
That's what we're working on. All the funds that we get from the summer book
Got it.
fair, we're gonna use them for
Thanks.
incentives.
Good night. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
Leaving.
The AO.
At the end of the,
No, he's looking for readers.
at the end of the summer school,
No, he's looking for readers.
if it's K through fifth, will they be assessed to see how much they?
Yes, they took a pre-test at the beginning, and they'll take the same test at the end, and we can measure it. We'll be able to measure growth on how they did. Basically.
That be sent home to the parents or?
And
Yes.
send it to the board.
Yes. It'll be presented to the board, and then it will be sent home.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Okay, go to number 10, informational items. We have the Savannah County Appraisal District Report, Business Office Reports, Food Service Reports, Police Department Reports, Booster Club financial statements, legal fees, and also the review of the TASB localized policies.
When will we get a copy of the legal fees?
As soon as they submit, we don't have any submissions yet. Yeah.
Any questions on those other than?
Can we go page by page on the test?
No? Chief is not here, right?
No.
On the police department, they don't necessarily have to, or he doesn't necessarily have to, at least in my opinion, submit a report that shows, offenses and all that stuff, but a written report saying, how do you go with the police department during the month, or that kind of stuff.
For the month of June?
Whatever month. But they didn't submit one, so no incidents.
Because it's June, yeah.
I know,
Because
I know,
it's,
but so.
Do you want it for summer school too? So that we
Well,
can,
aside
so that
from
we can
that-
get going.
If there's no need for that actual report form, maybe a written report saying what happened, what it, school,
The zero, okay.
what they did, the trainings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
That's to have we don't just, do we have summer school, cross guards at every,
The city has them.
the city, on the cross guards?
They've been relocated, but we have them.
'Cause I see a lot of kids, here by the traffic light between the Fly Junior High, trying to cross.
I don't think,
One side of the-
I don't think we have one out there, right?
So the only thing, Mr. Espinosa, that I can say about this, it's that the high school is, coming in and out at different times of the day. So some students are walking home, some students, but the cross guards are only coming in from, about 11:50.
But the junior high kids going to summer school.
Yeah, and then in the morning, there's nothing right there at the lights, we don't have the cross guard, the cross guards are over here by the high school, by our marquees, right there at the high school, and then over there at the salon.
But we can meet with chief tomorrow and see if we need to increase our crossing guards back to the normal number.
How many do we have from the county? I mean, those volunteers or the ones that apply from the county send us?
And the cross guards,
I think
we
piano,
have two
right?
from the county, and our night watchman that is helping they're Jackson and 7th.
Well, just maybe till, I don't know, if the chief is working during the summer.
Supervision at junior high.
To see, if it's needed, because I've seen a couple of kids that cross and then the light gets red and.
We'll do that.
Binder amendments, it's the ones that are listed in the G?
Yes,
Okay.
it's on first reading though.
Right. Any questions or comments in reference to informational items? All right, let's go ahead and go to 11, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion. VP Mother to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Member Houston. Going to take a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes. What is the time, ma'am?
9:11.
Oh, not bad.